Good morning, fellow travelers on Spaceship Earth. It is I, and I am Guy, coming to you live from Applewood Station in Denver, Colorado, where it is -3 Celsius, but it's supposed to be warmer as the day goes on. So, I need to find us some. Well, corporate sounds good. Corporate always sounds good, right? Right? We all agree to corporate. What? Had an issue thought process thing. And so now I'm going to go and try to bring up what I was thinking about. I can't remember what it was. I know what it was. All right, hang on real quick. Good morning, Brent. Congratulations on your team kicking San Francisco's butt, but only barely. That was an intense game. Uh, I am asking an awful lot of my PC today. That's fair. Entertaining, but fair. I have about 3 projects running right now, if you're wondering what's going on. I am pulling up a character idea I had. Hey, Spreen Tea? I like Spreen Tea. How are you doing this morning? I am asking an awful lot of my PC. Definitely asking a lot of the PC. Okay. We have another thing that's auto-loading now, I think. I'm not sure how to zorch that, but I've got always sort of have this something is started. Those are zeroed out. That's zeroed out. That's zeroed out. What is running? It shouldn't be running. Some piece is run because they're all coming in weird. Oh, well, I will be on tonight. I won't. I mean, I'm not going to stay on much today, but only because. No, that's not it. I'm only going to stay on for a small amount of time. I mean, I won't be. I'll be on for a little while. but I'm going to have to wander off. Okay. Where is the... man, I always have some kind of weird, goofy problem. Just constantly running some problem here. Like, I can't... So, I don't even know why this is an option with Daz Studio, but apparently it is an option for me to make a morph and then it becomes default. Like, it automatically loads that morph as a default. And this has happened multiple times. And I don't know how in the world we get defaults like that, because we shouldn't be. And it's really aggravating because it changes the default maquette. And so once the default maquette's changed, it's perpetually distorted. And it's like, I just needed this one rig. Anyway, so trying to figure out what happened here before I switch monitors on you guys. I'm just trying to figure this one out. Because they're all loading weirdly, which is aggravating. And there's nothing in these folders. Well, that's, certainly disturbing. Let's go for Genesis 2. There's no Genesis 2, only Zool. Having issues trying to... There we go. Let's see if just a default comes in all squeaky and weird. Okay, that's a nominal error. Yeah. Even the default maquette is coming in all squiggy and weird. Oh. I'm not sure why I'm getting... Something is... Yeah, this shouldn't be that, and that's that. That one also shows up default now as well. I've got a body style that shows up default, and a face morph of some sort showing up default. I'm not sure why it's doing that either. Maybe it's an actor issue? No. Head issue? No. I don't know. I don't get this. We're having problems with some morph. I made a morph somewhere along the line, and it has now permanently changed every model that's in here with that morph, and I can't kill the morph because it's not showing up. Maybe it's hidden. I don't even know where in the world it'd be. It's none of these guys. Oh man, this is really aggravating. I don't even know. It doesn't seem like any of these are on. None of these are on. Wish there was just a way to have it show you what morphs are running. Hey, Ava. Welcome to the show. We're fighting with maquettes. Any of these default on? No. Any of these default on? No. I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know. Ava, are you trying to pull up the Discord for this channel? Because there is a Discord out there. I just don't know I don't know if you could. I don't know if that's a possible thing to do from Twitch. If so, you want to tell me how to make it work from Twitch? That'd work. I'm relatively new to Twitch, and so it's a little harder for me to do some of these things because it's been a while since I've been twiddling around the universe out there. This is really aggravating. I'm gonna look up real quick and see if there is a spot there we go. There is actually a command for it. Load the scene, click on the character, look to your left, click on the shaping tab. I don't have a shaping tab. That doesn't surprise me. Okay, that's the main tab. Something along the lines of currently used. Okay. Properties, surfaces, parameters. Maybe currently used is under here. No, currently used. Okay. And then we show all your current morphs on that character. Shaping tab currently used. We don't have a shaping tab. There's one thing that's not supposed to be there. This is frustrating. I don't know why I'm having such a problem with this. It's aggravating. Yeah, I know. But it's changing the default of every character I've got, and that's not cool, folks. I can zoom in and then show you guys what I'm working on at this point. There's no real reason not to do. But we've got a definite face morph going here, and this is the default character. So I'm trying to figure out where it is, and I'm not seeing anything. Even in the hidden files, there's nothing. Those are all origin. The only things that are on are origin values. Won't change anything. I'm trying to figure out how did we get here. That shouldn't be our thing. I'm going to end up spending so much time on this one problem that I'm not going to be able to do the thing I was thinking of doing. I had an idea. Let's see, none of these poses are on. None of them are on. It says no morphs are on at all. But it definitely, not only does it have double morphs going, that's the error that you heard whenever I loaded. But it's having a hard time. It won't even show me where they are. None of these hidden ones are that. Because these are all orientation. Where the head is supposed to be turned. That's not. All of these guys are off. Maybe it's here in the base unit. And part of the reason I can't see it this guy's not on, so that's not a problem. A few of these that are on, but I don't think this is what's causing the problem. These all look like zeros. I'm like making the pose correct. That one's normal. There. That's it. Man. Okay, let's see what we can do about parameter settings on this. Because its default should be 0. That's where it should be. I'll stop doing that. So I made these specialized loaders and for making faces, and that's part of the problem is that it sticks them randomly in the model and then becomes the default. So every time you load any model anywhere, it automatically loads this morph that I just made. And I'm like, well, that's not why I did that. And it's like, why is that something that can happen in Daz Studio? Why is that an option? By default, we make it so that any morph that you make will be on by default. So if you make any specialized morphs, we'll be adding them to everything from now on. Why is that the default mode? It's so weird. All right. The next thing we're going to do, I'm going to take textures on this one. Nope. Stop doing weird things. Textures. We'll grab her. And we're going to take default templates. And this is the face. I'm going to browse. Bring up the browser here. And go look for, when we're just using this thing for basic stuff, I've got sort of a, I don't know if you want to call it a black and white version of this, but at least it's safe to broadcast. So, good morning, Bames. How are you doing? Where was I going? Oh, yeah. If, there we go. And go the same thing for the body. And then once we do that, we'll be able to do all the things. I guess we just run the standard. We're just loading up all of the safe for broadcast stuff because for some reason the automatic woozy-watchies detect this and call it nudity, and so they freak out and completely melt down. So I have safe versions that are easier to deal with. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Do I care about that? Maybe. I mean, I'm just gonna say that sort of. There. Now the body should be pretty neutral, and now we can actually start working on this to see what we've got going on. All right. So usually for expediency and speed, I'll put an underlying maquette under something so that all I have to do is do a quick trace to pull that through. But I want the maquette to look like the character to some degree. But if we take front view, there we go, we get a pretty good, accurate altitude of our character here. There we go. So she's 1.7, 1.89 and a fraction is the default size. So now we'll go through and we'll set this one up a little bit more. I just made her scary. Let's never do that again. No, that's not the one we want to touch either. Don't touch that one. All right, let's find ourselves a decent pose. Just so that she's not stuck. There may be better poses. These all look sort of superhero-y. There we go. Probably not so bad there. Okay, get the camera out of the way. Actually, we should move the camera in correctly. There, all right. Let's take a little bit more. We're not going to do, no, I don't know if I want to do that at all. Maybe, no. That's better. Bring our size down low because it's going to be manga, so we have to make it slightly different. That one. No. Ears, brow, forehead. We are not there yet. Here we go. There's got to be a hands clasped behind your back pose. And these are all Gen 3, but they should work if I need to use them. But none of these look like the ones I'm looking for. These are yoga poses. Yeah, just a standard pose, although shoulders hunched up. It shouldn't be that hunched up. All right. Now we're going to be in here trying to adjust things. One of the things we need to adjust is the size of the eyes, because they're I think we'll just use this as it stands. And we'll work, because we're trying to design something here. So I'm just going to go ahead and see what we get on a render. Well, now that we've rendered this, bring it in here. All right. Go out to where was I going? That's the folder. There's only one picture of this character that I ever did, and it was back in 1989, so I've got to go back quite a ways to find her. Kind of come up with a remastered version of her, which is why we've got a blank maquette. We're trying to figure out. There we go. Maybe it's in the unsorted photo folder. That'd be really annoying. It's not. This folder is super unsorted. So when we say unsorted, it's definitely unsorted. Like, it's got photographs of my grandmother in here. I'm like, this is not it's not where we should be here on this. It's just like complicated scenes here. No, that's not it either. If you're wondering what we're doing here, is I had this idea for a character, and I think I want to go ahead and bring another character into the universe as an outside observer, somebody who's just watching from the outside in. So I was thinking of an anthropologist, because that makes some sense, since that's what I'm working on right now. And the anthropologist, then I actually kind of had a thought that it'd be interesting if this anthropologist was traveling at luminal speeds, so light speeds. And so she'd stop for a while, study the humans, and then go traveling again at light speeds so that she jumps forward in time, so to speak. So every time she jumps forward, she stops and then examines where the human race is, and then, takes her field notes and sends them off, then gets back in the ship and jumps again and jumps forward in time. So she's recording 500 years of the evolution of humans. And she just happens to be stopped at our time, and, or she stops in at our time or whatever. But I thought that'd be an interesting distortion of, sort of taking the luminal speeds thing. And so I was going to take one of my very, very, very first characters that I ever wrote and resurrect her for this position. This wasn't what she was doing originally. My first characters were not exactly what I would call them the most evolved. So there's not a lot of depth to these early characters. So it's pretty easy to repurpose the entire character and just make it something else. Just use the name. Pretty much use the name, and everything like that would be fine. So I keep looking into these things and going, well, this is brutal. I need to figure out how to do all these things. all this stuff. In the same folder for everything, too. Like, I'm running into the same folder over and over and over. No wonder I don't have any space anywhere. I have no space out on my auxiliary drive because I've got 65 different versions of everything. I'm worried I'll delete it permanently, and that makes some sense, but still, it's kind of like, it doesn't have to be this bad. We could figure something out. I had a book that I was writing once a long time ago called The After Death Agency. That's pretty funny. Like I said, it's all the same things over and over and over. I think this is literally the same book, the same. So many nooks and crannies out on this hard drive that it's amazing that I'm finding anything. I am not finding the character. Oh well. I'm just going to go ahead and start sketching in on stuff. I really like Mandarin collars. I've always kind of dug those. They're cool. Yeah, excuse me. All right. And that gives us sort of a base to work off of. But it's going to need some work. But all the key points are in, so I don't have to fight so hard on this one. From this point forward. The question is, do I want her head to be this narrow? And I don't think I do. Make it sort of narrow on one side, but I'm not going to make it that narrow on the other. At some point, I think this character and Alex will have to meet. I think that's going to just have to be a thing. And I feel like these two characters are the only ones left from Old Earth for different reasons. So Mhm. We're not sure about this, but we'll work on it and see what happens. Hmm. And had this idea that if I wrote her field notes, A, it would help me learn how to write field notes, which is kind of important. And B, it would give me the opportunity to talk about one aspect of Bellatrix Rising that I'm very into, but isn't really that useful for storytelling. I mean, it is useful for storytelling, but not in the same way. Nobody really wants to read an anthropologist's field notes unless they happen to be in that field. So I can write about it and it can all exist out there. And people who want to read about the field notes of Kylie Lawson can. But it's not going to be one of those things where, I'm going to stop a comic in the middle of a comic to break down Kylie Lawson's field notes. It seems like that would be kind of something that would be extra boring for people who were just here for the story. But as somebody who's going into cultural anthropology and studying about cultures and the way that cultures work, I really like the idea that out here in the middle of Nowheresville, we've got this anthropologist who's going around studying all of the different parts and aspects of this culture as it grows and changes over the next 500 years. I think that'd be interesting. But, in that way, it's there, and I can do the work on it if I want. And I can express the cultures and express how this is working and all the pieces that do fascinate me, but don't really make necessarily good storytelling. And maybe what I'll do is I'll just release the field notes to my patrons on Patreon for, just reasons. I don't know if anybody on Patreon's interested in it, but, hey, you're interested in Kylie Lawson's field notes as she travels through time to the different eras of Bellatrix Rising. You always have that as an addendum. That was an ad. That was a pepper ad. That's a pepper. Hey, Pepper.
Hello. Just moving stuff off of my mic area.
It's good to see you, my friend.
Well, I figured I've been kind of on hiatus for too long, I guess.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, I just took the month of January not to really do much.
Yep.
Which is understandable.
It is totally understandable. I might razz you friendly, but I'm only going to razz you friendly. It's totally understandable in real life.
Well, I guess I can tell people. Started off my New Year, my first week of New Year with an MRI.
Yeah.
So,
it's totally understandable.
An hour and a half long MRI.
Oh, God. I'm terrified that someday I'm going to have to do an MRI. I'm like, there's got to be some piece of metal in my head or something. As soon as that MRI starts going, I'll be like, well, hope that doesn't come out of my body, whatever it was. So. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. I'm actually doing okay.
Well, that's good.
So, no, I'm just trying to get back into
the groove.
The groove.
I hear that.
That's about it. I'm not teaching teenagers in a nice white wig about dinosaurs. Wow.
That was frickin' funny. The kids loved it too.
Teach them about accidents with gravity.
Dressed up as Newton.
Yeah.
Every time I said, don't let Newton, and I'd pull the hair, I was like, don't let Newton take over your car.
Well, to be fair, Newton taking over a car is quite hazard.
Exactly. He's a menace.
He is. Just like Dennis.
Mm-hmm. Just like Dennis.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, the results of the MRI. It's funny that you had stated that you'll find metal in you.
Mm-hmm.
They did find metal in me.
Oh no.
I have an iron deposit.
That sounds horrible. My liver. Oh, that sounds horrible.
So, yay!
Yay! Yay! Where'd it come from?
I have hereditary hemochromatosis.
Oh.
It's a biological DNA passed down from parent to child.
Hemochromatosis. That sounds like colorful blood.
Basically, it means liver collects in my sorry, not liver.
Liver.
Iron collects in my body, and then it builds up, and it will go from the liver and then goes into other organs throughout my body.
That's horrible. Is it like super difficult to treat?
No, it's usually with diet.
Oh, well.
I
That sounds-
don't have the genes. The genomes that I have aren't the ones that lead to lethal premature death.
Oh, okay. That's
If
important.
that helps.
It's
I
very
just
much.
watch how much iron intake I do, how much how much food has enriched iron if it's processed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So essentially, beets, no more. No
Oh,
more beets.
that's got a
I
lot of
can
iron in
still
it.
do
Yeah.
spinach, but like I have to do smaller amounts. Like I can't like do like what I would normally do with like a whole spinach salad.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do that anymore. I have to like cut the spinach like in like a third, and then fill the rest with like other types of lettuce. So
That's brutal. Some of that's
yeah,
really brutal.
yeah.
I don't know.
I like funky beets.
Yeah, I was about to say. I don't know if I was to be banned from beef. I don't know, man.
Well, technically, I'm already banned from beef from other comorbidities that I have.
Right. That's
So, like, I can't do beef. I can't do pork anymore. Pretty much the only thing animal wise that I'm able to eat is the adult forms of turkey and chicken.
the adult
About
forms.
it.
So you can't
The
have
adult,
eggs.
yeah, can't do eggs.
Wow.
So, which I'm finding more and more as I'm like talking to other family members that I swear the egg thing is not just me and my family. Like, there's many members of my family that don't eat eggs because they're like, it makes me feel sick. And I'm like, that's an allergic reaction. It's mild, but it's still an allergic reaction.
Right?
So I'm like, you guys have like way more things going on than you probably realize. So,
Definitely simplified it. Yeah.
yeah. But, anyways, what you working on there, guy?
I had an idea for a character,
Mm-hmm.
which would be anthropologist, and she would travel at light speed instead of using the warp drive things, so that she ended up dropping in every, say, 50 years, and she just travel around at light speed. So it only was like a couple of days for her, but 50 years in the real world would pass. Then she'd drop out, write write up an analysis of the culture and the environment or whatever, and then get back in her spaceship and go around for another 50 years, and then drop out and then write up on the culture and everything like that. Because my thought was, I would love to write up some of these ideas I have on my cultures and stuff like that, but it seems like that'd be super boring.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nobody would really want to read it, but I would. So, so I thought I'd just have an access point, so to speak. So I'm drawing up this character.
Okay.
She's going to be my access point for writing these stories up. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm actually kind of interested in the idea of, what I can write up. The real reason I want to do this is I've got to practice taking field notes.
Gotcha.
I don't even know how to take field notes, and so I'm gonna
Is this for
practice with her.
Is this the classes for college?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because in college, I've got to. I mean, at some point, as a scientist, I'm going to have to produce and generate field notes, and I'm not sure if I'm, up to that task yet. So I figured I'll practice doing this. So.
Well, depends on the science.
This would be cultural anthropology.
Ah.
So, I mean, that's what I'm going into college for, is cultural anthropology. So I'm going to need to be able to make concise and useful field notes,
You should go and get the books that are labeled field notes.
right? Which is what
Yeah.
I've done in a couple of places. I've gotten a couple of people's field notes and kind of looked them over. And that's what I was thinking, was I just write them out here in Bellatrix Rising and it'd be fine.
Mm.
So that's what I'm doing.
So basically, you're writing a character that may or may not be able to understand ancient Earth.
Right? Well, I was thinking that maybe what happened was that she had been on old Earth, and this was what she decided to do once she left old Earth. Would be, she decided to travel around and do things and examine cultures and stuff like that, and that may have been what she left Earth to do.
Mm.
So I've been kind of thinking about that and kind of going there.
Mm.
But I thought that'd be fun. So, and this way I can practice doing field notes while still learning how to be a cultural anthropologist. And I mean, I don't know if there's ever been a speculative anthropologist out there as a position. So, like, science fiction anthropologist. But I might be the first science fiction anthropologist.
Mm.
Who knows? And it might be one of those things where, as we travel along, we'll see why there are no scientific or futuristic anthropologists. Because everybody will be like, what you're doing is super boring.
Maybe.
I do live of the opinion that if you find something super, or if you find something interesting, other people will find that same thing interesting at some point. Just, you can't guarantee that it'll be popular, but somebody will find this fascinating and will want to read it. Kind of like the Cimmerillion, which I'm sure, when J.R.R. Tolkien wrote the Cimmerillion, I'm sure he wasn't doing the 50 years from now they will make a movie based on that.
Actually, the Silmarillion is actually fully based off of stories and side things that he wrote down while writing his entire world.
Yeah, that's what I mean, is like, when he made it, it was just probably a background document to help him flesh out Lord of the Rings. And so,
well, yeah, according to his children, like, it was also stuff that was like thrown out of the publisher, thrown out of the books from the publisher.
Yeah,
and stuff he wanted in his actual books. A lot of those stories were supposed to be like there's one about the hobbits being invaded. That was actually supposed to be in Lord of the Rings.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm kind of saying, is like, this may not be part of the main part of the story, but it is part of the story.
Right.
And it's just not going to be part of the, the comics that I make. And I make them. That's all. So the more I was thinking about it, the more I was like, yeah, I guess this is kind of in similar vein to the Cimmerillion.
Oh wow. Okay. So, little update. Apparently, they changed some things. So me and Bill now have to submit our DMV records, or our motor vehicle driving records, to our adoption agency for the state.
Good heavens.
Yeah, they want to make sure that our driving record is good.
Like I said, wish they'd do that for some of the parents in the real world out here. Because, like, the stuff you guys are going through, it's super, super, super detailed. And I can appreciate it, but it does still kind of like, wow, that is amazingly detailed information they need.
Well, the one good thing that came out is even though like we were told no marijuana, no marijuana products, including like products like CBD and stuff that doesn't have THC,
Right.
um, the state has decided to allow adoptive parents the ability to do that. We now just have to have a safety plan for when those things are in our home.
Yeah.
But like for me and Bill, like we don't use those
Right.
for recreational. We use it just to like go to sleep.
Right.
So
Which makes sense.
yeah, it's just like a really weird. It's a really weird thing.
No, I mean, it sounds good to me.
Um. So, yeah.
Did it make you have a safety plan for alcohol?
Actually, yeah,
That's good.
yeah. I mean, we don't really have to worry about it. The only alcohol that we have in our home right now is Grand Marnier, and that's the only reason why I do that is because I use it for flavoring.
Yeah, for cooking.
Yeah,
It wasn't really what I was after. I was just wondering if they were being that detailed about
I mean,
alcohol as well.
they come in our house once a year, and they look through things. They look at our house. They see what it's like.
Well,
I mean, if they saw beer bottles and like empty wine containers or whatever, they would be concerned that one of us is an alcoholic
right.
or both.
Or both of
Who
you.
knows? They may just drop by,
Yeah.
surprise inspection. I don't know. No, actually, they won't. They always announce.
Announce their inspections.
Well,
Still,
yeah,
it's
'cause we have to.
amazingly detailed on that one. I mean, just like
Yeah,
I'm amazed at how much they go through. You know, how much of the sort of a dance they're going through. You know,
yeah.
it's kind of amazing to me. I'm glad. I mean, I
Hmm.
am definitely very glad. It is certainly good to know that they're checking on the children, but they're but the thing that always amazes me is I didn't have to go through any of that, which to me
Most people
sounds
don't.
like either I should go through all of that or you shouldn't be going through this much. One of the two. You know what I mean? Like,
No, I understand what you mean.
yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I'm not saying I don't want to go through it. It is parts of it is quite annoying though.
Hmm.
Mm.
All right. I'm suddenly very much aware of how much she looks like Min May. I am taking old characters and resurrecting them. So I'm
Gotcha.
doing old artwork from my early days in doing all of this because this is kind of becoming my magnum opus. Electrix Rising is. So I'm throwing all the characters from all of my previous story arcs and things like that into here. It's sort of like this potpourri of my characters.
You should make like a cat-like beings that are based off of some of those old drawings that I saw.
Yeah. Yeah, I should.
The one with the '80s hairband,
80s hairbands. Yes. Yes.
and like have them have the '80s hairband hair
Yeah. Yeah.
with cat ears.
Well, like I said, she's starting to look very Minmay-esque, which makes
So
sense. I was of that was where I was when she was being invented, so to
yeah,
speak.
I am trying to put some stuff together right now so that I can look for work again. So I did have someone contact me yesterday, but I don't know if I want to go back into the world of TCGs.
Right. I don't blame you on that one.
Still haven't, like, I talked to him, the guy's nice enough, so I gave him a price and he seemed very good with it, but like then he's like, I could just have one or two of your artwork and that was it. And I was like, I feel like I would bankrupt you with my pricing.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable setting you up to fail. And like that's like one thing that we don't talk about enough as artists. When we see the writing on the wall for people who contact us for commissioned artwork,
Mm-hmm.
like we don't talk enough about the fact that some of us are like really considerate and basically find it uncomfortable if we know we're going to actively hurt your bottom line
Mm-hmm.
with what you want to do. Is that just me, or am I just being like obtuse with my thoughts?
Well, I mean, no, I mean I don't know. It always makes me wonder or think about those things quite a bit because for me, I mean, obviously we need to get paid.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I'm changing careers now is because I wasn't getting paid a lot,
Mm-hmm.
not enough to support a family. So there has to be a certain amount of, how do we
Mm-hmm.
charge enough for it? Do we not charge enough? What do we do? And some of it has to be on them, in my opinion. Okay, I'll charge you $100 a piece or whatever. If you need 60 pieces, that's $6,000. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's just the way it goes.
Right.
And if
I mean, it's
they
always
say,
great when
"Oh,
someone comes up to you. It's always great when someone comes up to you and goes, "I would totally want 60 pieces for $6,000 from you."
yeah,
That's great.
yeah, it is." But I also feel like that's on them if they don't have the money for it. The only problem I've got is that I think where you're coming from, and I concur, is that they'll get into the fray and then realize they don't have the $6,000 to give you.
Right.
And then it's, can you help us and work here a little bit on this? Can you bend a little on this one?
Yeah.
And then you have to start saying, we can't.
It's how many boundaries do you want to push about your career boundaries before it becomes okay? No, I've done too much.
Yeah.
To basically continue with this, but I mean, realistically, I don't. I'm debating. The guy was very nice, and I do like his idea.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, I just don't know I'm still debating in my head because it's another like Pokemon-esque
Mm-hmm.
type style, and I don't necessarily like. He likes my scenery work, so like if I don't do any characters or anything like that, but just did like background scenes for card art,
Yeah.
which is like basically if you're into Magic the Gathering, those are the land cards.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he would want me to do stuff like that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not a bad idea.
No. There's nothing wrong with that.
But also at the same time, like, I don't know if it's just two of them, like, that, am I really contributing? Like, am I actually going to be something that someone can actually feel I'm putting in the effort like other people?
Right.
I don't know. I have a lot of things in my head right now. One thing is I want to basically get comic book work, which for most people who don't know, comic book work outside of individual artistry, like where it's one-off commissions where you can make a lot more money.
Right.
Comic book work is not that much money. It's actually way less.
Yep. It's true.
I think my first comic gig I ever got, I think I got $10 per page.
Woo! Yeah,
Oh,
now
yeah.
the going rate's 100 a page.
Yeah, and like now, like when that same publisher, like if that same publisher came back to me and I gave them my updated rates, I would be considered as like a back burner artist
Mm-hmm.
because they won't be able to afford that price.
Right.
And it goes back into what I was saying before, like what we don't talk enough about when people basically have to make considerations on budget and so they can afford to print the products that they are trying to make.
Yeah.
So, but no, I have some stuff going on at deal. I guess I went and I got these wonderful Pentel matte pens, which make me feel like, I don't know. You remember in the 80s and 90s those felt tip pens by Pentel?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The
My
ones that
mom
had
used
like,
to use those a lot.
yeah, and like they, for some weird reason, like you can see through the paper on the other side that you haven't written on, but it's not so see through that it like bleeds through.
Yeah.
I was fascinated with these pens when I was a child because I saw kids using them on screen, like on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was like, ooh, yay! And then I found them. Well, they came out with with a set of them, and they're all scented.
Scented?
Yeah, they're scented.
Okay.
Yeah. So, where did I put it? Hold on. I have it. So, okay, so it's instead of. Never mind, I got the company incorrect. It's Papermate.
Oh yeah, Papermate. Oh yeah. They're scented?
Yeah, they're scented.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of interested here.
Yeah, they're scented. This is the pack that you get from Costco. So you basically there's. Yeah, it's very weird. They each have their own scent, but some apparently they're scented. The one I picked up is scented like Sunday brunch.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know the scents, but they're all according to Sunday brunch. So
there you go.
I also cleaned up my office in January too. I got rid of my old art desk. It was time. It was time.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do here. I started doing it a couple of days ago, and then gonna have to continue on. But yeah, that's the same thing for me. I was like, about time for me to do something in this office here and clean it up.
Mm.
So I hear that.
Now, I also am experimenting with getting prompts from OpenAI or ChatGPT, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Just to try to get my mind going back into artwork.
Yeah, I find it interesting. I've kept my subscription to Midjourney. I got when Kan and I were when it first came out. Kan and I spent a few shows here, just kind of dinking with it and messing with it and kind of exploring it. And we both came to the conclusion that as an inspiration tool, it's not bad. You know what I mean? Like it's
Right.
that if you're using it to just sort of spark some ideas, give yourself a pose or two that you need to kind of work with, or you just kind of make it operate. It's not bad. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, obviously, if you were to use it and then say, I did this, it doesn't go over so well.
Right.
But yeah, we were kind of, so I've kept that Midjourney account active because every so often I would go in there and just poke around. I mean, honestly, I think that the creativity part of it, of all of this, is always going to be the AIs. The people who will use AI are people who are trying to cut corners or whatever.
Well, I'm not trying to cut corners. Like the one thing
No,
that
I didn't mean that. What I was trying to say was
no,
like
I
people,
just
big companies, you know.
right. No, I'm no. I know who you were insinuating.
I was
Don't worry about
insinuating
that.
somebody, not us.
I know who
But
you were.
I guess what I was trying to say was what you're doing, I feel like is a good thing to do. You know what I mean? Use it to
Right.
spark, get it started.
Yeah. So essentially, what it is I asked for a ghost story inspired by H.P. Lovecraft style of writing.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
No, sounds like fun. Actually,
Yeah.
that's something that maybe would be a fun thing to do sometime as a challenge for us. Just
Yeah.
pull up a prompt somewhere and have it give us a prompt, and then we have to make it work.
Yeah.
Because that could be a lot, but that's the same thing. That's sparking us. You know what I mean? That's not
Right.
using it to replace. It's just sparking something, making it run a little.
Yeah.
I like that.
So basically, what I've been doing is I've just been so I'm mapping out the pages right now. Pretty much, I took like each paragraph and I have part of each paragraph like kind of broken down into pages. And then when I go to actually start like doing something, I'm gonna just take this and as a base, expand what I want on each page. That's where I deal. So like if someone looks at the script part of what I'm doing, they won't see the generated AI prompt.
Right.
They'll see, okay, no, this person has written this about this and this about this, and I have no dialogue in my story, so I would probably be inserting dialogue. So it's one of those things of it's inspired by a prompt. But I'm not doing this for money. I'm literally doing this project. This project is literally so that I can put together a thing for people to see as far as like art goes,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, yeah. See, yeah. How long? Actually, I'm gonna be right back. Just
Okay,
need.
I'll be here. Dang it.
So sorry about the short intermission.
No, it's fine.
Uh, uh,
All right.
the funny thing is when I was thinking about the prompts,
Mm-hmm.
and I said style. So part of me is worried a little bit that I will unfortunately like draw something someone has already written,
Right.
and then I had to remind myself, no, I'm not doing this for money.
Yeah. We're not. You're doing it for practice. It's totally fine.
Yeah, and someone like because like some part of me feels like, oh no, like I feel like this could totally be like monetized, like all this other stuff. But I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. But I also did. I wanted to also state that I did another kind of prompt,
Mm-hmm.
and that one is in this format. I don't know if I'll ever do it, but it sounds interesting because I had it write it. It's like a 5-chapter mini novel.
Hello, Bill.
Messages from Bill. So it's like a 5-chapter mini novel with an epilogue.
Mm. Okay.
And it's a murder mystery.
It is a murder mystery. Okay.
So it was funny. It was just like it was really funny. And then I have like another one where I just was like, tell me a story about a intense thriller or supernatural, like a suspenseful thriller of a kid moving to a small New England town.
Mm.
And I got one.
That's cool.
But it has like no imagination to it, so
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I
it's pretty
definitely
dry.
fill in blanks here.
Usually, the things that are written out are pretty dry. Yeah, I've noticed that.
So,
How you doing, Bill?
Not too bad. You have to come out here at some point. I need to show you all the cool technology things I do to the house.
I want to see it. Yeah, the problem I've got now is that since about July, I have work on every weekend now. So I'm not coming up to Fort Collins to do the Fort Collins thing. But I might take next March, the March 1st, or the first Saturday of March, and clear that, and then come up there and do the normal things that we've done every so often.
Okay, cool.
That seems like a thing that might be fun to do. Come visit with you guys, hang out for a little bit, have, lunch or whatever. Do our thing that we do.
Well, I can
Because I
tell
do
you,
miss you guys.
I can tell you if you come up to our neck of the woods and we go somewhere in Loveland, we have places that we now have established that we go to a lot.
Good.
So I think you'll like our selection.
Yeah.
I mean, it also depends if your kid is with you or not. So.
No, kid won't be with me usually because kiddo's not that hot on the traveling or going with me. We're in that part of teenagerdom where it's like, why would I want to hang out with dad?
Pulling away from the parents.
Yeah. So
gotcha.
We're fighting it a little bit, but one of the things we are able to do is watch movies together and TV. So that's good because that's connecting. It connects both of us. But it is still kind of like it's still frustrating. I'm like last night, my buddies just decided on a spur of the moment to go to a sports bar and watch the sports game because the superb owl that was on last night. So we watched it because it's fun. My mom was a big Bronco nut, and I grew up with Sundays being sacred days because the Bronco game was on. And so I speak fluent football. Like, I can watch, I even know what the refs are doing when they signal things, you know what I mean? Like, they'll signal a holding call or they'll signal a false start or whatever, and I know what that means. I know the symbols and stuff like that, but I really don't care. It's not, but I do like the ambiance. So we were doing that, and I was trying to convince the kiddo to go with me, and no. Okay, that's fine, but it's becoming entertaining in a way. But I'm also now embroiled in school, and that's really interesting, fascinating. I don't think I'd seen you guys since all of this went down, but Um, I I'm now going to university here in town. You knew that I went for the big university, and they sort of turned me away because they said,
Mhm.
we can't look at your Westwood transcripts at all. And so the only information we have about your GPA was when you were here in 1992 and you were a 2.0 student, and we can't admit you at 2.0. And I said, yeah, but when I was in Westwood, I was a 3.45 and I was on the dean's list. And they're like, yeah, we can't look at that. So we have to assume you're a 2.0. You need to go somewhere else and prove that you can do better than a 3.0. And I was like, okay. So I
Yeah.
joined the local university, which I'm not going to say on open air, but the local university near here. And I was like, well, I guess I'm starting all over again as a freshman and everything like that. And then all of a sudden they said, well, we're going to take 90 credits of Westwood and move it over. So you only have to finish the anthropology side for your degree. So
Awesome.
it's all anthropology classes. I'm in an archaeology class, a biology class, and a cultural anthropology class. And then, of course, I have to take an extra 15 credit hours to graduate because you have to have a minimum of 45 credit hours, and I only had 30 left. So I had to add 15, so I threw Japanese back on there. And so this time I'll finally get fluent with that stupid language because I've only been trying to learn it for 30 years. And though I got to a point where I could communicate in Japan, I know I was speaking like Yoda, and I want to stop. I want to clean that up. But I
Mhm.
was super excited about that. That was really
Oh,
cool.
I just thought that the way that you spoke in Japanese was, like a junior high girl.
Yeah, that's what my friend kept saying. You use all the language pieces of a junior high girl mixed with the principal. It's like those are the two people I hung out with while I was there, because in the English classes, the girls did more English work than the boys did. So all of
Mhm.
my after school clubs were always just a bunch of girls, because the
Mhm.
guys were like, I don't want to do that. I want to go play baseball or something. It's just like really funny. So yeah, the language I picked up, the slang language I picked up was junior high girl slang language. It was very funny, which is cool to now be in an actual structure class where the professor's up there on the board saying, here's what the structure looks like, you need to do and I'm like, oh, that's why they were saying that, or
Mhm. Yeah.
whatever. I had a structure point last week where he wrote it up on the board, and I was like, oh, I now know why all the teachers were saying that. And he's like, well, this is kind of an imperative thing. Where did you hear that from? And I'm like, my teacher is telling the kids they had to do stuff. And he was like, yeah, that's an imperative. All right. So like I learned the imperative form structure and then realized, oh, that's the teachers telling all the kids, get moving, stop hanging out in the hall, get to class, that kind of stuff, in that sort of order sort of way.
Mhm.
And Japanese is a very soft language. So when he went through that, he's like, you got to be careful using this because this sounds like orders. And I'm like, yeah, that explains why the teachers were always saying it, because they were barking at the kids, getting them
Mhm.
to move. It's just cool. It's cool to get that background. I've been enjoying it. And I've been really enjoying all of my anthropology classes. Like, I now, that's what I was saying is this character that I'm doing here, Bill, is going to be my cultural anthropologist. She left Earth just after Earth got destroyed and has been
Mhm.
going at light speed so that she only ages a couple of days, but then she drops back into the culture 50 years later. And then she does field note work on the culture. And then she gets back in her ship and goes again at light speed and then drops back down 50 years later to do more cultural research. And so I had this idea, and I was like, this would allow me to A, practice writing field notes because I'm going to need to know how to do that.
Mhm.
And B, it would allow me to expand and flesh out my culture in a way that doesn't have to be written in the comic. You know what I mean? Like, I could do it as a side note, kind of like the Cimmerillion is to the Lord of the Rings, just kind of all the side stories that are fascinating and interesting, but don't need to be inside a comic. They don't need to. I don't need to. Oh, I really want to talk about this aspect of my culture. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to squeeze this into this comic somehow. Shoehorn it in so I could have that piece.
Right.
Don't goofball. So that's what I'm doing here. I had that idea and I was like, oh, that's gonna be fun. So yeah, so I'm enjoying that. This is the download. I don't think I've seen you guys in a long time, so I'm like downloading all this information to you because I miss you guys. But I'm actually not doing a whole lot outside of school and work. So,
well, one thing that we've been doing is we have 2 D&D groups that come to our house every Wednesday and Thursday now.
You have who?
2 D&D groups that come to our house every Wednesday and Thursday.
You guys have gotten all into D&D. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, so if you ever need a break on Wednesday or Thursday, feel free to come up. Be here by 5:30.
That's fair. My Wednesdays are more open than my Thursdays. My Thursdays are a mess, but my Wednesdays... Right now, I ended up with 3 classes on Tuesday and Thursday and 1 class on Monday and Wednesday. So my Mondays and Wednesdays are relatively open. The problem is that my Monday and Wednesday is cultural anthropology. So that's core. It's a core class. Mm-hmm. So this is where I'm going with my life. I need to pay close attention to that class on Monday and Wednesday. So it actually is fine that it's all by its lonesome self. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Wednesdays are much clearer than Thursdays. So that might not be a bad idea.
If you want to come up on Valentine's Day, which is this Wednesday.
Doing a one-shot.
No, the one-shot is Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
Oh, that's all right. You'll have a one-shot somewhere along the line.
We have a one-shot on Thursday, but on Wednesday I can basically see, because we essentially left our party on a beach.
Son of a beach. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Where my second character in this campaign, because my first one is now out to sea, swept, holding and clutching another party member's foot.
Oh no.
That has since been detached from the body.
That has been detached from his body.
Sounds horrible.
So I had to make a new character who is out to try to find my original character.
Right.
It's Dan Makulatoa.
That's awesome.
So the first character was a Kenku.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm playing an Eladrin.
Huh. Okay. I think that's cool.
I have to get back to work. I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah. I don't know if I can do this Wednesday, but definitely I will join you guys at a D&D one-shot at some point. When you have a one-shot on a Wednesday, tell me.
Okay. Will do.
And then I'll join in. It's good to see you, Bill. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Yep, I'm going to have to go here in about 4 minutes, speaking of classes.
No! Okay.
Yeah, I can't go over anymore. Which makes some sense. And I'm not at all complaining about my life choices at this point in time on this one.
Well, the only time I can really complain about life choices is when you make questionable life choices.
Right.
Yeah.
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 I like that better. Give her a little bit more of that trim that kind of goes around the rest of her outfit. So, I mean, yeah, I think I'm happy also with my cultural anthropologist here. She's pretty cool.
Mm.
Give her sort of a semi-70s sort of thing going for her.
You should feather out the hair more.
Yeah, feather out that hair a little bit more.
Start tossing it up.
Right? Yeah. Somewhere out there, I'm going to have to alter it at some point. Somewhere out there is the actual picture that I did of this character back in 1990. I want to say maybe 1989. And when I find that, I'll come back and retro this picture a little bit more.
Mhm.
So she's just what I remember her looking like. But I mean, it's been 30 years since I've seen this character. So I don't remember what she's, I don't have the feel anymore. There's
Gotcha.
a feel that comes with characters, and I've lost the character's feel. So I don't know where she exists in my head, but she exists somewhere. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I love just kind of thinking these things through and stuff like that. It's such a big world that's starting to develop underneath Bellatrix Rising that I'm kind of glad I did this piece, because this will help flesh that world out.
Okay.
So
Ooh. Ooh.
yep. So she was born in Camden, Maine. I just picked up, and I opened up a window, or opened up a browser, and just said interesting cities in Maine. I just picked Maine at random. I was like, and then so Camden apparently is a city in Maine. So she's almost 40. Not quite. Almost 40. Relative age. Because, of course, really, technically now she's going to be 500. But
Yeah.
she's really relatively 40. Because she keeps hopping into relativistic speeds.
Mhm.
That's a science fiction-y concept in and of itself. Just that by itself, having an anthropologist that jumps forward every 50 years using space travel as the time machine, so to speak.
Mhm.
Wonder how sad she'd be, at the end of each one of these. It's been 3 years, and she spent 3 years kind of studying the environment and the culture and making notes on things, and getting to know people, and then she has to get back into her ship and
Yep.
fly off again, and she knows that the next time she jumps down, those people won't be here anymore.
What would be interesting if she had stated that she followed the life of one particular person.
Mm-hmm.
She saw them be born.
Yeah.
Then saw them, then documented like certain things.
Yeah.
And then came back and saw that same person later on.
At 50 years old or whatever. Yeah.
That would be interesting.
That would be. Especially if, she would have things like, she'd have stories where her buddy would be Joe Smith, and then she'd hop, Joe Smith has a baby, and then she gets to see the baby and go, oh, the baby's so awesome. And then she jumps again and comes out, and Joe Smith's been dead for 35 years. The baby is now 50, and saying, oh, yeah, Dad used to talk about you all the time. It'd be like this. That'd be so strange,
Right.
And that would be, but I agree with you. That would be a fascinating thing to explore.
Yeah.
So fascinating to explore just that thought process of, her personal, she's going to have field notes, but she has to have a personal log as well, which she will upload to the system.
Right.
Every time she leaves, she uploads all of her notes to the science institutes before she leaves, so that they have everything she did, so that if anything happens to her or whatever. So there's this ongoing record in the Science Institute of her traveling through time, observing and cataloging and just recording history as it evolved and changed.
Yep.
I think that's going to be this is an interesting character. This is a fascinating character.
I think he should go to like one of the national parks. Or find one of the national parks items in like a local store. and there's one that is literally labeled field notes.
Yes.
And then you walk around, and like you go to like a busy place, and you write down everything you see while other people are walking around.
Yep.
People will find you weird, but you will find it very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, that's smart. That's a very smart thing. I shall do something very similar to that. I have a feeling that that's probably going to be at the end of cultural anthropology this semester. You know what I mean? Like at the end, we're going to be doing field notes. And I think that's what he's looking for, the professor, when he's having us do essays on things. Like the first essay was supposed to be on, or is supposed to be on, because it's not due yet. It's supposed to be on reality TV. So he wants us to watch a reality TV show and do an analysis of it. And I think that's what he's building towards.
Analysis part number 1. This is not seeming realistic in
but
society.
what he wants us to do is, what does it say about the culture? What cultural rules are being expressed through this reality TV show? What cultural norms, rules, things like that, which is exactly what he's after. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see what he's talking about. And I can kind of get what he's going for. And that is, at the end, I think he's going to have us do exactly what you're talking about. Go hang out in the middle of downtown Denver with field notes and just write down what we see or whatever. I have a feeling that's what's going to end up happening.
Well, if you want a more interesting place in Denver, you should always go to Estes Park, because tourists love that place.
Right? You're not wrong.
No.
So,
and it's Rocky Mountain National Park.
Yep.
Right there.
Right there.
So, like, once you're done with your assignment, you just go straight into the park.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
That's a good idea. I'm saving my character as a character preset.
Gotcha.
So because I'm gonna have to shut down here in a minute.
Okay. Well, within that last minute, what reality show are you gonna do? Vanderpump Rules?
I was gonna do something in either Japanese or Korean, because I would like to pull out of our culture a little. I asked him if that was okay, and he said yes. So,
what reality shows do they have?
Oh, they've got all kinds of wild stuff. So, I mean, I don't know. I'll have to go see what's going on now. But when I was there, that was one of the things I would do, is just flip through channels going, well, that's weird. And that's weird too.
Well, I know Knockout was a game show that was over there that came here.
Well, like Takashi's Castle was one where they bring people in and they had to do all these weird, bizarre things.
Gotcha.
You know.
All right. Well, I'll let you go.
It was good to see you, Pepper. I'm so glad to have you here today. Thank you.
I may join you tomorrow. I don't know yet.
Tomorrow I won't be on in the day.
Okay.
Because on Tuesdays and Thursdays now I have classes all day.
Yeah.
My Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays are still open, so I might be back on Wednesday. I will be back on Wednesday.
Well, due to health reasons, mainly mental health reasons from Bill, I can't stay up all night anymore. So.
No, I'm just saying I'll be on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings.
Okay.
It's just that Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm in the middle of my Japanese class right now. On Tuesdays and Thursdays.
All right.
So.
Well, I say bye. This is the longest goodbye.
It's good to have you with me, my friend. I just need to click all the right buttons. I'll see you later.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Keep your eyes on the stars. Bye.